So I think actually I would frame it in my mind as him. I think Cross made an intentional choice, not necessarily to give up, but to walk away from a system that he could not fix. And he still, in his mind, represents what he thinks justice is. He's going to find a different route to represent said justice. But I think we shed a light on the truth of what it is. Justice is not what it's sold us to us as. Justice is sometimes not even found in law. Sometimes the measure of equality has to be met by breaking laws or changing laws, right? Not breaking laws, but changing laws, right? For any means of equality to be met, laws have to be changed. So I think we're reflecting the nature of the casualties left behind in the wake of not representing justice in its true intent. And I think that we have those conversations through the actions of these characters.
Yeah, and I think for Lance Duran, look, he's a guy that if I had done something really bad, you'd put me in jail. But I didn't really do anything that bad. And I'm out here really trying to save the world. So isn't it better that I'm free? But I'm trying to feed all the people. And yes, some casualties happen. But at the end of the day, it's better to have me out there doing good.
Well, that's a great question. For us in season 2, we obviously decided, okay, I want a vigilante. And that was because I was feeling at the time that so many people feel like they're getting a raw deal or the short end of the stick and don't really know what to do about it, or even if they can. And maybe they can't, but we could live vicariously through a character who decides to take justice into their own hands. But I didn't want it to be that simple, because I feel like there's a slippery slope that comes with that. There's a sort of romanticized version of a vigilante where they're just going after the bad guys and doing stuff that the system won't do, but there's collateral damage, and then there's going too far, and then there's who gets to decide who are the bad guys. So we decided to do a character that would seduce the audience in, and they would start to root for this character, and then hopefully at some point they'd have to ask themselves, did that character go too far? And that's Luz. On the other side, you have Lance Duran, who's this billionaire who is, trying to leave a legacy where they've done something to solve world hunger. But when you dig a little deeper, you realize that they've had to do some things to get to where they are in this world. And they've had to dispose of people. And just literally and also just figuratively, in terms of how you said, like systematic, how you described that was great. Like, just abuse, systematic abuse. And the thing they have in common, they both think they're doing the right thing. That's, for me, there's always been a question about the difference between law and justice. This is not new. There's always been a time where folks say, well, there's a difference between law and justice. And if law is not protecting justice and leading to justice, then what do you do? And so even if you're actually working in law enforcement, that question is even bigger. As soon as you go down a road where there's a vigilante who people root for, who seems to be motivated by the right reasons, especially if they're targeting bad people, you already are asking that question. Are we okay with sort of like people taking justice into their own hands when we know it's for, they're going after bad people? Or do we want that to be handled by law enforcement? Now, when you expand on that, when we actually have someone who he has to protect, and the more he gets to know this person, the more he starts to question whether they deserve protecting. Now we have a quandary for Alex Cross, and he's in a catch-22. And we spend this season watching him transition from I gotta chase down this killer to, am I working for the wrong person? And I think then that question gets him to the decision that he says, I feel like I'm in an institution that no longer represents justice, and I morally want to be attached to justice. And so he feels like carrying the badge is no longer part of his path.